In Quran, we come across a number of stories such as story of Cain and Abel, Abraham destroying idols, Solomon's conversation with an ant, the story of the 7 sleepers of Ephesus, and several stories about Mary, mother of Jesus. In this article, we write about Shaddad and his paradise on the basis of the available information. The primary ancestor of the nation of Ad is Ad ibn Aus ibn Iram ibn Sam ibn Nu. Thousands of years ago, his people had lived in the deserts of Al-Ahqaf, around Oman, and Hadramut in South Arabia. They were strongly built and very tall. They believed in no god but worshipped idols. Prophet Hud was sent by Allah to preach and guide them on the right path. He advised them to worship one God as taught by Islam, but they paid no heed. Allah punished them by stopping rain, and drought overtook them for years. Then some people went to Prophet Hud, begging him to pray to Allah for the rains. The Prophet prayed and instructed them to return to their villages. Thereafter it rained and people prospered. But never did they amend their conduct, nor abandon their faith in idol worship. At last they were destroyed by punishment from Allah. When Ad died, he left behind 2 sons, Shaddad and Shaddad. After some time, Shaddad also died, and Shaddad became the ruler of his kingdom. He had appointed several governors in the areas over which he ruled. He grew so arrogant that he even claimed to be God and compelled his people to worship him. Allah sent Prophet Hud to approach Shaddad, advising him to correct his wrong thinking and conduct. In response, he once asked the Prophet what reward he could expect if he were to put his faith in Allah and worship one God. He was told that he would have a place in paradise. Shaddad inquired what sort of place it was. The Prophet described it as a blissful place where the righteous and true believers in Allah would after death enjoy the best of everything. Shaddad responded, saying it was nothing, since he could also build similar place or even a better one on earth. He then resolved to build a huge and beautiful paradise of his own on earth. He sent someone to Zohag Tazi, who ruled Iran, with request to purchase all available quantity of gold and silver. He also sent people around to other places and acquired large quantities of valuable items, including musk and amber, etc. He then gathered all his experts and architects and gave them instructions to construct a magnificent paradise on earth. A place with good climate and scenery somewhere in South Arabia was selected. High palaces and towers with walls inlaid with gold and silver were constructed. Beautiful pearls and emeralds were spread on floors instead of sand. Trees made of gold with branches hanging with musks and amber were put up in plush gardens. Every time the wind blew, the sweet scent their perfume would spread around. Pretty women were accommodated there to beautify the dream setting. All valuable metals and materials were supplied, and it took some 300 years to complete it. In those very olden days, people used to live very long. Prophet Noah had lived for 900 years. Similarly, Shaddad was informed that he would live about that long, so he was extremely anxious to enter and live in his lavish man-made paradise before his death. He gave orders to all people to proceed to the walls of dazzling city, of high and magnificent pillars, described in the Holy Quran as Iram Zatul Imad. Then he himself came out of his residence in Hadramut with his large army for opening ceremony. As he neared the paradise of his imagination, suddenly he saw a deer with trunk and legs of gold and silver. He gave chase to capture it, but in so doing he got separated from his army. Now alone, unexpectedly, he was faced with a frightful horseman, who in raised voice said, "O Shaddad, you imagine that you will be saved from death and live forever after entering this man-made paradise on earth." Shaddad, on hearing this, trembled and inquired who he was. "I am Malakul Maut, the angel of death," came the reply. "What do you want, and why are you obstructing me?" asked Shaddad. "I have come to take away your soul," he replied. Shaddad pleaded for some time at least to be able to enter his paradise, but the angel of death refused, saying he had no permission from Allah to do so. He then fell from his horseback, and his soul instantly departed from his body. His army heard a deafening and frightening sound from the sky, and they also perished on the spot. None of them could fulfill their ardent desire of entering the fictitious paradise. The whole decorated structure crumbled and got buried under the Arabian sands. What a splendid example of the consequence of one who thought he could challenge the might of Allah, who had become arrogant as a result of this enormous wealth. What a tragedy that he could not even step into his man-made paradise.